This is going on YouTube. So we're going to watch this Lich game here for Kairu. We're going to do it live so that if you have any questions or anyone else has questions, we can go over it. What is this? This is Crusader 5. Yeah. First question you had was about how to know if you're like good with the hero. So like you've played Lich a bit, but you feel like you play it well, but you're not sure if it's a good hero or like if it's a good fit for you and what that means. So here's my own stats page. So some of them, like Trian and Jakiro, are probably my best heroes, and that does reflect in win rate. I've played Rubik a lot, but I have a negative win rate. So usually what that means is that you're either missing a core part of the meta, so it's like unrelated to the hero, but there's something in the game you are doing conceptually that is wrong, but you're like playing the hero well, but just doing something wrong. So an example of that is like staying in the safe lane too long. Like you win the safe lane with your hero, but then you just keep staying there and you don't go anywhere else. So that's like conceptually wrong, but hero-wise, that's like you might be playing the hero correctly. Or you might be missing some part of the hero. So like for Rubik, I think my mid and late game Rubik is pretty good, but my early laning is really bad. And then I think in the late game as well, sometimes I get baited trying to steal spells and I die. And then like our high ground defense is ruined because I'm dead or something like that. And so those are two things I need to work on Rubik. So even though I've played him a lot, I think like messing up the laning feels really bad. And I think that's part of why I have a negative win rate. So if you've played a hero and you feel decent on them, but your win rate's like not quite there, and you're pretty close to 50%, it could mean like one of those two things. Game-wise, you're missing something, or on the hero, you're missing something. So maybe from this replay, we'll be able to tell a little bit. You had trouble with warding and some mid-game timings. I wasn't sure what to do. Yeah, dude, I get baited on Rubik all the time. Sometimes it's okay, but the biggest issue is if it's like the high ground defense, you see someone use a spell and you like run up too far and you don't have buyback, or you did buyback. That's where my discipline is not good enough. That's something I gotta work on. All right, so we're gonna go in. Let's take a look. Oh, you got featured. Nice. Okay. See, 3 MVPs. Look at you go. I don't think I've even gotten one since the battle pass came in. All right, perspective. Let's take a look at you. You got 2 sets of tangos. I think that's good. You got a ward. Who's in this game? Yeah, I feel like a ward for you is fine. I don't think Bristleback Lena should really need a ward. 2 mangoes. I think that's good for Lich. And a Windlace. So who are you against? It's kind of hard to tell. It's like one of these 3 here. 2 of these 3, I guess. One of them is the offlaner. So one of these 2 is the offlaner. And then technically any of these 3 could be the 4. And then probably Pango or Sniper is the mid. So if I was you, I would have assumed Sniper's mid and these 2 are the 3 and 4. So expecting Slardar Sniper. Oh, you were expecting Slardar Sniper. Okay. Against Slardar, I think that's really good because if this guy gets on top of you, that's bad. Sniper... I guess it is still good against Sniper to get out of the shrapnel pretty quickly. What else could you have gone? Let me think. Ring of Protection? No, actually, I don't think that's good. I think Slardar still kills you. All right, I'm happy with the Windlace. I thought about it. I think it's good. Oh, Sniper pick second? All right. Okay, that's good then. Yeah, it's probably a Sniper support then. Then yeah, I think Windlace is good. Helps you stay away from the melee and all that. Okay, I think that ward is solid. It'll let you see them trying to pull. It'll let you see Slardar or Sniper being sneaky. Although one thing I may have done, slight recommendation, very minimal. Instead of like coming here and placing the ward, where you might be like seen if someone's here, if you run through these trees or like through here, it provides a little bit more cover and you can still ward. But like a very minor thing. Overall, that ward spot is still very good. 30 seconds to battle. Let's see, what do you have queued up? Some extra mangoes. I might consider a clarity. Let's see, I guess you don't have the gold for a clarity and a Windlace. So I think what I might queue up right here is like a clarity and then 2 mangoes. Because anytime you're pulling, you'll have a chance to use a clarity. Got your tranquils queued up, and your magic stick and everything. So these starting items seem fine. You guys can get first blood. Nice. All right, solid start so far. Waiting for the last one. Nice. All right. But during the game too, don't mind chat too much. All right, if you're aware of it, that's good. It's always good to at least know if you're tilted. I'd be a little careful about walking over here. I like playing on this side a bit more. I think it's safer. At the same time, it's not a big deal if you like Q once and walk away. What does sniper have? Going for really fast tranquils. So what I'm thinking about right now is trying to decide who you should harass. So you cast Q once on Slardar, and then you cast Q once on Sniper. But generally, you don't actually want to split your harass like that. You want to focus on one person because, like, look, this guy's still very healthy, and he can lane perfectly fine. And now Sniper, he's a little low, but he can still lane, and he's going to tango. He's got this Ring of Regen going, and he can still lane. Whereas if you use both Frost Blasts on just Sniper, he's now like pretty scared, and he has to be pretty careful about walking out. Or if you use 2 on Slardar, honestly, he's still healthy enough to lane, but he's getting closer to being unable to lane. So usually try to pick one person to bully out. And usually it's the offlaner, but sometimes if you have a really fragile support like Sniper, it's possible to pick Sniper. But it kind of depends on your carry. In this case, it would be a little hard for Jug to get to Sniper because Slardar can bash him and all of that. So I don't mind focusing on Slardar. But yeah, like focus on Slardar instead of like splitting the harass. Get this? Okay, so actually, this is the perfect example. This explains literally that. That one time you Frost Blasted Sniper, if you had Frost Blasted him instead, he's probably dead right here. And that's where it really matters to like focus on one hero. So sometimes like you won't end up with situations like this where he almost dies and gets away, but like occasionally it will matter. And so that's why it's good to like always get into good practice of that. It's a bit too far to chase, I think. But I understand it was really close. I think over time, eventually you'll just come to recognize when it's not going to be a kill, and then you won't go up that far. You won't take that extra harass. This is where I think having like one clarity is really good, because right now, you just bully this guy out. Look where this lane is. It's way up here. Great time to pull right now. You can't pull the small into this camp, but you could probably do a hard pull through here. Break this tree. You have a tango to do it. So hit this at like 117, or if it was 117 or 147, that's the timing for it. You hit this camp, you run through here, you break this tree, or it's broken already, and then you stand slightly above the tree, like right where my mouse is. Let the creep try to auto attack you, and then walk a little bit into the creeps, and that would be a hard pull. Maybe I'm about to unpause here and you literally do that, but that's what I would recommend. And during this whole time, you'd be pretty free, and you could be claritying up, which is more cost efficient. Okay, this is fine too. This pull is also good. But the same deal applies, where you could be claritying right now. But I think the pull is good. I would try to stay a little closer, because they are going to farm this now. So try to stay like around here. And ideally, I think Jug should actually be here to contest this as well, to not let them farm this for free. Yeah, you knew. So, actually, you're right. Let's just play it a little further. Yeah, I would try to stand a little closer so you can get the XP from some of those creeps. but stacking is also good. I think you would have time to absorb a little bit of XP and then go stack. Okay, you just stacked it. Now you're going to pull. That's good. And yeah, you can pull the whole wave. You stacked it. See, what'd you just buy? Okay, there you go. You got your clarity and a salve. Alright, all's well. Okay. Yep. I think that's good too. I would be... So the one thing I'll add on to here. I think you should attack move here. So you attack him, and then walk up a bit. Attack him, walk up a bit. Attack him, walk up a bit. Because that'll keep you in a close position. So in fact, this guy might get away. Yeah, so imagine if you had been attack moving, and you are now like up here when he starts to run away. And then you can like keep running this way. He might still get away, but it puts you in a better spot to get the kill. And you can do it because you're full health. You know, if you're low and you're at risk of dying, then you don't go in. But because you're full health, I think you can run in closer and know that he has to run this way to get away, or this way. But either way, standing here is going to be, you know, far away from both of those. And so if you run up by attack moving, you can sometimes get those kills. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. If I point it out, I'm sure you'll think about it more, you know? This game is just slowly building habits like that. Let's see what happens next. Stick. Okay, one thing I would recommend, instead of buying these iron branches, I might... Yeah, I think I like saving up for the movement speed. Okay, let me change that. I think it's fine to start with the iron branches if it's like your starting items. But I think if you don't start with the iron branches for like the first, like with your starting gold, then you only buy them when you're finally going to go for the magic wand. But at this point, I would say the magic stick is enough, and I would want to finish Tranquils before finishing the wand. But this is good, pulling. Speed up a little bit. You got your ward. How do I feel about this ward? So my idea for you right now is that Jug is doing pretty well because you've done a pretty solid job so far. You guys have gotten some kills. You've been doing some pulls. So Jug is reaching a point where he starts to be... Yeah. The move speed is really good against these guys too. And it ties into what I'm about to talk here too. Is that with the movement speed, you're now able to rotate a little bit more, right? Because if you're like this slow 280 move speed hero, it takes ages to cross the map. But if you have your boots, then it becomes, you're just wasting less time when you run across. And so you're approaching the point where Jug is actually going to be okay if you leave him alone. Once he hits 6, he's pretty safe. Slardar is actually one of the tougher matchups, so you might need to stay a little longer. Maybe get this guy to like 7, or maybe get him a little low before considering rotating out. But you are reaching that point where it's about time to start thinking, okay, is it time to head bottom? And so when you're going to do that, you want to leave a ward for Jug to keep him safe. And this ward partially accomplishes that, but I think I kind of wish it was a little bit more this way, because that would let you see. So like this ward covers here, but if someone TP'd here and then walked up here, Jug wouldn't know they did that. So like if the lane was playing here and say Pango TP'd up here, walked this way, and then like ulted in, Jug wouldn't see it. Whereas if the ward was here, you would see anyone rotating from the tower, and it would also cover over here, which would let you see people like running through river and either coming this way or going here, especially if they like come stand over here, because the ward would be like here-ish and it would cover here. Now, yeah, they can kind of like cut through here or like over here. That's definitely possible, but it's less likely because usually when people rotate in, like it's pretty scary to walk up into the enemy's high ground like this, or like curve in deeper than necessary, and so many people won't do it. They'll just take the shortest path, which is literally like through here. So that's my one nitpicky thing, but I like that you have another ward up here. More concerned about the river. Yeah, that's true though. Like Pango probably would. Honestly, Pango probably will go through the river. It's unlikely he TP's top, but it's just to cover the potential option. And it's more relevant when you have someone like who will actually rotate and could be a kill threat. Whereas Warlock isn't really that kind of hero, so this isn't too bad. It's like honestly, it's like mostly correct to have a ward up here and you put it in a decent spot. And I'm just being nitpicky to like put it over here. Actually, at this point, I do think you could leave. Not TP away, but to walk away. But I don't hate it either, because you guys can kill Sniper pretty easily. You do a pull. I think you guys should kill that Sniper right now. What's happening? I guess Sniper was trying to bait out the death, and it was pretty close. I would have thought Sniper would have just run right back to the tower. But, oh, okay. You guys are going to get the kill. You do another pull because he's dead. Okay, this is really good so far. Doing a lot of pulls. What'd you buy here? Ring a regen, that's fine. Well, actually, because you still have 2 tangos, I kind of feel like you don't need this quite yet. I think you could just save up for boots. Checking a sentry. Sniper was playing up here. I think that's fine. Juggernaut. He doesn't have mana. That would have been a kill. So now 2 wards up here is a little too much. But if you plan to keep playing up here, then I don't mind that spot. But I do think 2 wards for the safe lane is a little bit overkill. Did you use the honeycomb? Yeah, okay. Use it on Jug and Co-op, I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. All good. I like the idea for raindrops. I think boots are really good. Try to save money for them when you can, because I don't know how to properly explain it, but the move speed to let you move around and get things done is just really, really good. Sometimes you do need smaller items, but you definitely want to like look to cut any corners you can to get boots faster. Okay, Jug's gone to jungle. How do I feel about this? Now, if no one comes up here, then I think you should be up here to get the XP and all that. But because you're a Lich, I think Lina should be the one up here doing this. And actually, possibly even Jug does it. So, like, Jug jungles, and then when it gets here, he comes back, pushes it out, and then goes back to jungle. He could do it himself. Or if you have the enemy offlaner who keeps pushing it, then someone like Lina can come up here and farm it because she's a pretty greedy 4. But you are a pretty not greedy 5. And so I think it would be really good to come play with your Bristleback down here. Because your slow with his Quill Spray is terrifying for these heroes who have to just run away. Especially like a Warlock, Sniper if he rotates down here. Even Lifestealer has to be a little scared of it. But forcing pressure down here to get this tower, and then moving your way mid, I think is the long-term play. What's the levels on your team? Got Yasha soon. That's pretty confident after. Okay. I'm I'm debating if you even need to buy this tome because you're 6. I kind of think someone else. You can just leave it for someone else and save that like 75 gold. But I don't hate that you buy it either. I think it's fine. Because your spells are pretty good. Using that to push out the tower. Okay. Good stuff. I might buy... If you know you're going to defend a tower for a while and you're going to cast a couple spells, I recommend trying to buy a clarity or 2 to go with you so that you can keep your mana up and keep the tower protected. Because at this point, if Jug didn't come up here, you would still... Like, you'd be out of mana, and then how do you defend? And if you look at your mana costs, they're really expensive. If a full team fight breaks out, you actually don't have enough to use all your spells. Your wand has no charges. You have raindrops, but it's still going to take a while. So I do recommend, when you know you're going to defend with your spells for a bit, get a clarity with your stuff. I go through a lot of clarities in a lot of games. There is a limit, but a couple clarities throughout the game is a great way to help your mana issues. See, like right there, when they're all here, this could be a great time to Chain Frost, but you don't actually have the mana for it. Yeah. So it wouldn't necessarily like change the game. Like, it doesn't mean you win or lose either way, but imagine a world where you do have the mana to Chain Frost here. Go back a little bit. You Chain Frost here and it like kills the golem, gets you 200 gold, kills at least one of these heroes, maybe even 2. Your Jug probably survives if you Chain Frost all of this. So yeah, it would have been a decent ult. And so that's where having a couple clarities or 2 to keep you... You have to be ready to fight as a support. And Lich has a lot of mana costs. So you just have to keep that in mind. And yeah, now you buy it because you recognize it. So then the next level of that is just to recognize a little sooner. I'll have it ahead of time. The laning went really well. Laning was actually really good. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. Okay, placing a ward up here. What do they have? They actually... it's a little... well... I think they need all 3 of their cores to do Roshan if they want to do it early. So I don't know if you need this ward quite yet. It's good to spot the this rune. I guess I'm just debating if... because these 2 are kind of close together. But this part of the map is not where your team wants to play right now. And so I think you only need like 1 ward in this top area. An early ward in this area is really good when they have people who can do Roshan really early. People like TA, Huskar, Meepo, those guys. Slardar and Pango are really good at doing Roshan, but they still need a bit more time. Probably around 20 minutes is when they could potentially do it. Or if they do like a full team wipe on you guys and they're all alive, and then they come do it with the golem. This Jug looked like he was in an AFK core. Yeah, no problem. This is how we're gonna make warding not a problem. My idea here, and to be honest, warding is really hard. Because to ward properly, you need to know what your team needs to do. And that is a really high-level concept that takes a long time to like really understand. So people who make fun of supports as being like an easy role, I think they're wrong. I think you need a lot of game knowledge to know how to do all your stuff. Where is Pango rolling? This noise is killing me. Right now, what I think your team would be doing is playing like bottom mid in their jungle here. And so I would want 1 ward up here to protect Jug if Jug is playing in the jungle. But actually, I think Jug should be playing down here. And so you want like 2 wards in their jungle. I should switch to Dire Vision. Okay. So I would want 2 wards in their jungle, somewhere like a deep ward maybe, or maybe like 1 here or here, and 1 somewhere up here a bit. Because that makes this area really safe. and then Jug actually plays down here alone, and now your team can play like mid and eventually make your way top. Or if Jug does want to play top, then it's like you leave him one ward, and then kind of the same deal. You still place the 2 wards down here, I think, so that your team can play a bit more aggressive. Because you have someone like Queen of Pain who can, if she sees someone low in their jungle who thinks they're safe, she can kill them pretty easily. Whereas you're not really going to see low enemy heroes up here because they're really scared. And they wouldn't play that aggressively. I would say another way to judge it is that I would say your team is ahead. And so when you're ahead, you want like 1 ward to be defensive and then the others to be a bit more aggressive. And these 3 wards are all defensive. So if that helps you judge it, that's another way to think of it. Force staff first. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think they're pretty much all physical damage. Well, that's not fully true, but they are heavily physical damage. So the Glimmer Cape's not good. Yules gets rid of bonds and gets rid of his ult, Corrosive Haze. Lets you dodge sniper ult. Kite this guy a little bit, but I don't think it's that good. Yeah, I like Force Staff. I think Force is fine. Okay. Stacking Ancients. Good stuff. Jug can farm that. Or Bristle could farm it. Oh, actually, let me look back real quick. Okay, Quap farm this. So you can't do it. But you can double stack these. If you hit Ancients at, like, just at 52. So, like, if it's 1 stack, you can hit it when the time changes to 52. If it's 2 stacks or more, I would hit it, like, at the very end of 51, start your auto attack, and then your auto attack will like land at 52. Run up to the hard camp, hit the hard camp as soon as you can, and then walk into like this corner or like up here, and it'll double stack these. Most heroes can do that if they have move speed and they're ranged. Maybe you would have done that, maybe you already know, but co-op farmed that so you couldn't do it anyways. But I'll just throw it out there. This is one of the camps you can double stack like that. Yeah, it's really good. If you're going to spend the time to stack here, you might as well do both. Like, Bristleback would love that if you stacked both of these, because he can stand here and quill spray all of them. So it's super efficient for him. And even Quap or Jug likes to farm. I mean, every carry likes to farm double stacks. Another camp you can do that is here. Oh, actually, since they changed this, I'm not fully sure. I'll be honest. But I think this one you can hit at 53 and then hit this one at 55 and walk out. Or it might be the other way, where you hit this one at 53 and this one at 55. I have to double check that. This is another camp you can do it. Hit this one at 53, this one at 55, pull out that way. I think that's it. They changed the map, and then they change, like, sometimes I should stay a bit more up to date on it. I think those are all the ones you can double stack. Yeah, I think Jug should probably do it as well. But honestly, as long as some core does it, it's fine. As long as you have any core that can farm it and you get in the habit of stacking well, then that's good. Okay, I should not be speeding through a fight. Okay, so you were looking to stack, I think, but then a fight broke out, so you came over here. Shield on Quap. One thing I might suggest, wait a second until you see him start to channel his ult. It's like a very minimal thing, but when he begins to channel his ult, he's not doing anything for like that half second, so you don't really need to fear him. But then you don't actually want him to ult, so then you fear him. You waste, what is it, at level 2? You waste 1.7 seconds, then he has to start channeling his ult again, and so that's another like half second where he can't really do anything until he ults. So it's just like min-maxing the amount of time you have before he actually does anything. So it'd be like right here is when you would use the fear. Oh, unfortunate. That was also pretty close. I thought you might be able to ult him. This is kind of long range, so it might be safer to just use it on these two. But that's pretty unfortunate. I think that's okay. Yeah, I might run straight in here and try to get yourself denied. But he probably would have still killed you, to be honest. Okay. Fight kind of works out for you guys in the end, though. You're a support and you died, so not a huge deal. Jug didn't go Battle Fury, so he is going to struggle to farm this. That's kind of why I was thinking Bristleback. But Jug will get it eventually. He's got Healing Ward, and that's good, too. I think you should well, maybe this is okay. So okay, actually, perfect example again. One of the issues with smoking at night, if your team does not have a night vision hero, is that your smoke breaks and you actually can't see. You can't see the enemies because smoke breaks at 1025, but most heroes have. Does it show on here? Most heroes have. Where's Lich? 800 night vision. So here, 800 night vision. A couple don't. So like Slardar, I believe. No, I was wrong. Slark. Okay, Slark is one who doesn't. He sees 1800 at night. And Slardar has a night vision. He used to have a night vision talent. That's what I was thinking of. But what that means is that if you smoke at night, you actually don't see them. Like your smoke pops and you still don't know where they are. You have a general idea that they're in this area, but you have no idea who it is. So that's useful when you're thinking of smoking as a team to know whether you'll actually be able to see people or not. But when you're doing it to ward, I think it's kind of okay because you're using it and you're like hoping that, okay, if I walk through one of their wards, it will, like they won't see me. But I don't know. I actually don't have an issue with you using smoke to like ward, but I just want you to know that that can be a downside of doing it at night. Yeah, unfortunate that you ran into him there. I don't blame you. I think trying to get a deep ward is good. What I might have done instead, though, let's see when you smoked. So you smoked around here. How close is Quap to World? So you might check to see, like, hey, Quap, or, you know, who else might you could play with? Lena. You know, if these two heroes, see where their ults are at? 24 seconds and 15 seconds? Like, that's not too bad. Say, like, hey, can we smoke up together and go look for a kill and play some wards? And then with those three, you smoke and go. And even if you do the exact same thing, but now you have those three heroes, you know, you come ward here, and then this warlock walks in, you just kill him. He might still know you had a ward here because you guys were all there, but at least you get a kill along the way. Or you kill him, and then you decide, okay, I don't want to ward. Or you go deeper and ward, and then they know, like, oh, I think he has a ward in this area, but I actually don't know because we died and we lost sight of them. It just ends up being a lot safer anytime you can move as a team. Or even like without smoking, you can just ask to move together. Let's see. Wait, what just happened? I missed that. I was speeding up. Did she get killed by a roll? I want to know what happened. Oh, she just killed a warlock and died for it. Okay. Yeah, questionable a little bit. Okay. Nice. Chug solo kill. Levels. Okay, you can take the tome, you're lowest. See, this kind of movement is a bit scary. Because honestly, they probably just have a sentry here. And if you, after you saw that warlock, if you looked over, it's very likely they just had a sentry here because he just saw you warding here. And it's usually not worth your, it's not usually worth risking your life to de-ward a sentry. They might have had a ward here. But I don't necessarily have a reason to think they do. It would just be a guess that they do. But I know they have a sentry here because they dewarded the ward. So I don't know if I would want to risk my life coming to deward this, especially because they just killed Quap up here. Like, that was really recent. I guess it was a couple, like, 20 seconds at this point because we sped up a bit. But they're still probably in this general area. Like, here, here, here. Like, somewhere in this circle of the minimap. So coming here to deward is just pretty scary. That's true. They were dead. But I don't know. I think, like, Pango and Lifestealer can both solo kill you. Slardar can solo kill you. Sniper, you'll probably get away from. But as long as there are heroes that can solo kill you, it's a little scary to come up here. But you're going to get away. So this isn't anything that's your fault, but I'm going to point out what this Jug is doing. Jug is farming his own jungle, which I disagree with. I think Jug should be farming, like, out here. Because this creates pressure for your team. This is a carry issue, you know? It's not really your job. But sometimes as a support, you can say... You can, like, gently push people, like, hey, Jug, do you want to farm bottom or something like that? I definitely don't micromanage people. People hate that, and they'll just tilt. But if your team's ever lost and they're like, I don't know what I should do, I at least want to point out, like, for you, so you know that, like, hey, we got this tier 1 tower. If I can get, being the hard support, can get a ward, like, here or somewhere down here, that makes it relatively safe for the carry to farm down here. And then, like, your team can, like, pressure mid or something. I think that is what should be happening. Yeah, so that's where definitely do not tilt your team. You know, if you think your team will tilt if you say something, then don't do it. But maybe if you're ever playing with friends or something and you see your carry farming, you can know that, like, hey, I think you should be here. Oh, maybe you guys can get a kill here. Nice. I saw you waiting to Sinister Gaze at the end of that, so that's good. I was going to comment that if I saw it. But you did not overlap the timing, so that was good. Stacking. A lot of stacking. This is better stacking than I'd have, I feel like. I forget to stack a lot. Ghost Scepter, I like that too. Jug. That's a really unlucky bounce. This is a little deep for your team, but I think it's fine. Maybe it's not fine. So, if you had a ward, I would have put it up here during this fight. I mean, I know you don't have a ward. So, but I'm just saying, like, if you did, let's back up for this fight, actually. So, you get this Pango kill. I actually think instead of stacking right here, with that Pango kill, it's totally fine to just rush up and attack this tower with your team, and maybe even go place, like, a ward over here or, like, over here. But stacking, I think, is okay, and then running up here. Your team, I don't know, were you guys talking about making a play here? Because I think with Pango dead, I think you guys should just take this mid tower. Now, I don't hate that you guys are going to try to make a team movement, maybe kill, like, Sniper up here, and then push down here. But it needs to be coordinated. So, like, you guys initially ran up there, and then at this point, it's getting awkward, because you guys are not much communication. Yeah, it happens. Where now it's getting a little awkward because you guys are spread out. Now I think you do have the opportunity to kill this Warlock pretty quickly, but unfortunately Jug was like looking over here. Like, I think at this point, if Jug had run down and you fear, like, this guy's dead. He's pretty fragile to Jug. But then, like, she's switching her attention to Slardar, and so it's all very all over the place. You also had some unlucky bounces where they came over to these creep waves, instead of just like bouncing between the Golem and Lifestealer. Can't do much about RNG. Okay, with that kill, I might say it's time to back out. Because at this point, it's good for you guys. But you're going to die. Still okay for you at this point. I guess your team can't really get out at this point. See, what's Quap doing? This might have been fine if Quap came. Yeah, that might have just been too deep for you guys. I think, okay, so you got that Pango kill. I think pushing mid is the ideal. If you guys want to go for a team kill on Sniper, that's like second best, but still acceptable if that's what your team wants to do. When you come up here, after missing that Warlock kill, I think that's where it's time to like, okay, let's call it off. You can't control your team if they still decide to go in. Like, you have to back them up there. But yeah, it's just a little deep against Warlock. They're playing all the way at their tier 3 right here. Not tier 3, but they're like, it's their high ground in between two tier 2s and the tier 1 is still up. Like, it's just asking to get rotated on and have the full team there. Oh, another snack. Brilliant. Little scary to come up here. Working out. Oh. Our Sinister Gaze. Could you have gotten this? Probably not. Okay, no big deal. Oh, what's going on here? Split up a bit. Why did Jug go back? Okay, so this is a... I was liking this movement by your team. Jug should definitely just push his bottom lane in, and you go meet up with your like Lina and Bristleback, and Quap like rotates down as well. And then you guys take this tier 2 tower. Then you can take this. I don't know. I think that's what should happen, where your team just like pushes this bottom lane. But Jug goes back to farming in this area, and now it's getting awkward. We're gonna see if this what happens here. Probably dead, so I would just leave him. Go get the runes. Yep. You're close to 4-staff, so I would be looking to steal some farm somewhere. Maybe farm that hard camp right here. You're right next to. To get up to your 4-staff. Yeah, I think this is a lot of time just standing still. I think your plan is to stack this, but I think you could just farm it and then move on. Go do something else. Yeah, well, you can't control your team. If you told them to get out, no. God, MKB. This guy's heavy magic damage against a rage. And this guy also. I don't know if this is the best itemization on Jug's part, because this is a lot of magic damage against 2 people who have magic immunity. Not your fault, but because I was watching you guys try to kill, and it's like, you guys are lacking some damage, because there are like their 3 cores are very tanky, and Bristlepack takes a long time to build up damage in team fights, and then his damage is like magic, Quaps is magic, your magic, she's magic, so it is tough for you guys to get these kills. And I thought that would have been a good fight for you, because it was like 2 of them and 3 of you, but then you guys are so slow to get the kill. Might 4-staff through this tree, or have someone, if Jug has... He has his Quelling Blade in his backpack, if you want to call him over to cut that mango tree. Shadow Blade. Gonna need detection, yep. Good stuff. You want to be with your team. This is now stacking too many times. When your team's all the way up here, if they're up here, you need to be up here too. Because at this point, a kill is going to do more for you. Stacking is like... it's not like something you strictly need to dedicate a ton of time to, unless you have like an alchemist. Wait, what am I saying here? Let me think about this. There are some objectives you need to like prioritize and dedicate time to go to. And then in between that, you try to fit extra things in. Stacking is one of those things where you usually try to fit it into other things. Except some cases where you have like an alchemist or someone who like needs to hit a very quick timing, and then you go from there. That's when you like spend time stacking. But at this point of the time in the game and with your lineup, I think it's more important to like take team fights and pressure objectives. And so I think you need to be up here with your team at this point. Yeah, so see like a fight's breaking out and you're a bit out of position on there. Jug is a little deep, but... let's see. It's just a rough team fight because they're a bit more together than your team is. So in this case, yeah, I do think instead of stacking there, I think it's more important to be with your team. It's sort of working out for you guys. Okay, it did work out for you guys. Warlock carry indeed. Alright, so again, right here, I would just be running to your team. Or, they're all dead. This is a great time to ward. This is when it's really safe to go ward. But this is like, this is a very safe part on the map for you to be in. But it's like, what are some things that are too dangerous for me to usually do? Placing deep wards is usually too dangerous for you if they're alive and you don't know where they are. But they're actually all dead. And so now is the time where it's like, this is usually dangerous, but actually it's safe now. So instead of waiting here to stack, I think like coming out here, deep ward here. Or like, come join your team here, which actually you can do both at the same time. You can come over here, ward, and now you're here. Or you run straight over, ward somewhere here, and you're here. Or like you come join your team, ward here, something like that. You're placing these deep wards and you're with your team. You're accomplishing like two major objectives. And at this point, pulling is like, or stacking is not. Now, if you happen to like, as you're running to the team and you run through here and it's like, oh, it's time to stack, you hit this and then you continue on your way, that's really good. Or like you walk over here, you hit this, you walk out, and then it's like, hey, can we farm this before we like back out of this area? Those are all really good.
See you later, nerds.
But now they're all up, and now it's like, okay, now it's too late to get deep wards in. They can see you. Be careful of this. I do this too, actually, where sometimes I'm getting better about it, where you have to walk, like, if you want to come in here at this time, you walk around. But again, you're like coming in now when it's like more dangerous. Yeah. Honestly, your stacking was really good early. The first like 20 minutes, all the stacking was really solid, and I was fine with that. But now as we get to like the team fight objective part of the game, now, yeah, you want to switch where it's like, if I happen to be in this area, I will stack as I go by. That kind of thing. I like this ward. I think that's good. But you do have to be careful of... If you had done this and walked around, I don't think they would necessarily know you had a ward in the area. But I think they're going to know now. And it's also just something you should have done while they were dead instead. But we've covered that now, so we can move on. Like, this kind of stacking I think is okay, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm not quite sure what to do yet. Or like, we need to get the team together, so I'll stack while I'm waiting. And you only had to wait a few seconds there. This is a little too far up positioning. If a team fight looks like it's breaking out. So this part's where it's a little awkward because you don't have a true initiator, and I think that's what you feel is that like, okay, you need to be part of the stuns to get these kills with the Sinister Gaze. Which is kind of true, but also because you're a backline support, you just can't be that far up front, and it's more like you just have to slowly push with the Bristleback, and maybe Lina will find a stun or something. But like walking up here, so when they're all here, you see a lot of them here, and you're here. I think by being over here, you open the opportunity for them to like come to you, and yeah, your teammate's like kind of close, but they're not actually having to go through your teammate. They're like free to go to you. Whereas if you position like over here, if they want to get to you, they have to like run through the Bristleback. It's like very minor positioning stuff. I see you did want to get the ward, but it's I don't know, just leave it up a little longer. Don't risk your life for it. Unlucky he procced you. You might have gotten away there without that. So this is the case where like after the fight, it's like, okay, the position 5 died, and we got their off laner, so it's like kind of okay. And it is kind of okay, but it very easily could have been off laner for nothing. And we're always looking for like these small improvements. So in this case, it's just like a small positioning thing where you don't walk out here and you stay like behind these trees, honestly, would be fine too. Because you're in range to like force staff through if you're needed, but shield is actually such a long cast range. It happens. I understand. Let's see. Lina should definitely carry Dust. She's got some sentries, so that's okay. Quap, yeah, she's got room. At some point, it is hard for the carry. He's actually at the point where it's like kind of hard for him to carry Dust. Although against a lifestealer, if he's the core, it is a bit important. Usually it's like the off laner maybe who might carry it. Like instead of this wand, is definitely something. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Sometimes you just can't control your team. You gonna kill this guy? Oh, yes. Oh, he's a Shadow Blade too. I see. This is an issue. Yeah, they definitely need to carry some stuff then. Or if you know you're about to die. Okay, yeah, you don't have too many sentries in stock. But sometimes if you have enough sentries and you're about to die and a team fight's going on, just drop a sentry so that, because you know your team's not carrying detection, you know, you leave something permanent so that at least if they're in that area, they can help. They're 2 Silver Edge. Yeah, he might build the other. There's at least 2 Shadow Blades. This guy's got the Silver Edge for now. There might be typing or something going on at this point. Try to keep up with the fight, what's happening though. Because if, from your perspective... Okay, now you're moving around a bit more. Yeah. See, I don't know what's going on in that fight. There we go. It's important to like keep watching the fight or like look around the map. Okay, TPing in to see if you can still help this guy. Slardar's here first. Ooh, unfortunate. I think it's the right idea to try to TP and help him. Ghost Scepter will be good too. That'll help keep you alive.
See you later, nerds.
This is a little scary to come out here because they're so close. Or are you trying to ward? On the cliff? Or just de-warding? Especially if you're just de-warding, I don't think you need to do it right now. I think like walking up here, because you know your team just lost a fight and you know they're going to play in this area now. Walking up here and placing a ward like here maybe, or this might be a little too defensive. But placing one of these like less common ward spots to get some vision here because you know they're going to be here, I think that's okay. And that means you only like have to come up here. But walking all the way up here is a little scary because what if they did have vision, right? This Slardar is going to sprint over and kill you. Or the Pango is going to like queue over and kill you. So if they actually did have vision, you would just die here. And so checking this short area is sort of okay, except for the fact that your team's dead, they're gonna kill all this, and then they're gonna come here. And if you did actually deward something in this area, they're just gonna deward you after that. So you have to wait for them to kind of like leave the area before you do serious dewarding. And I would just like drop a ward. Net worth higher. Go. Yeah, they're farming a bit better. And yeah, that's kind of it. They're just like farming a little bit better. Yeah, no problem.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Frost shielding that. It's fine. It's a long cast range. You can do it pretty safely. As long as Pango's dead, I think you can do it. And if you see Slardar, because he's the like other initiator.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Like here's where I would be a little careful. If you want to come over here, try to walk on this side and stay as far away from here as possible, because you don't quite know where they went. And so they could easily be in this area, see you walking here by standing up here, and then kill you. They're strong enough to dive this tower and not care. So it's very important to like stay as far away as possible out of sight, or to make them dive very far for it so that maybe you'll have time for your teammates to rotate. Or did I miss seeing them leave? I might have missed that. Checking items. Teams all up. It's hard to take straight team fights at this point. At this point, I want to start keeping vision near Roshan because they could easily do that. I don't know if I missed them doing it or something. I wasn't paying attention. But it's definitely the next objective. There you go. Nice. Well, it doesn't have to be the next objective, but it's a very likely next objective.
Tower is under attack. The Dire scan, on the hunt for radiant forces.
It is a little awkward. I'm not sure how to get your team, because you guys just you guys have like way worse team fight because they have a warlock and a pango, and so it's hard to take direct team fights. But you guys are also pretty bad at getting pickoffs because you don't have like an instant initiate. Lena's kind of your best initiator with a Yule's into a stun, but you know that's not going to work against a lifestealer. It's going to be tough against a Pango who can Q out. He's pretty tanky, but maybe you'll get him. Your lineup was kind of meant to win the lanes and snowball. But due to some not fully won lanes and some too deep fights and stuff like that, it's tough now. Oops. I think what you guys probably need to do, if they're feeling confident, okay, so yeah, this is leading up to it, where if they're feeling confident, they will be like split up. And you do have a ward down here to see them splitting out, and if Jug pushes this out, you might see someone else in the lane. Yeah, you won the your lane won. That's where it goes back to where I think you needed to rotate down once you win the lane a bit, but it was kind of tough, so it's I don't know. I do think the laning went well. And so like if you don't win the game, it's okay. You can't win every game. But I think some of the like the one thing that sticks out to me that could have been changed about the laning stage is when you started to use your spells to keep the wave out. I think it was around 12 minutes. And you didn't have enough mana to do that ult we talked about. That was this team fight where they like triple killed you guys is pretty big for them to get back into the game. And so by having enough mana to like win that fight, that like solidifies the snowball potential for you guys. So that's like something you could have done there. But overall, the laning was pretty good. And then the stacking as well. And we already talked about stacking too much. Nice. Good stuff. That's probably about as much as you could have done. You got kind of burst down. I agree. You need to lead with the ult. I think the two most important spells for you to get out are your ult, followed by Frost Shield on a core. And then possibly Sinister Gaze on someone to lock him down. I think Frost Blast in team fights where you're going to die really quickly is probably the least important spell you have. But you did get the ult out, and that was the most important part. This guy is wrecking you. The lifestealer's pretty big right now. And we don't quite have Catch on the team now. What's he got? Going for a Lotus Orb. Alright, he should just try to get out now. TP right now. That's too late now. Oh, he has a Basher, never mind. Okay, a buyback. I kind of like that, actually. If you win this fight, you guys can do Roshan. I think you guys could still... Nah, well, maybe you can't do Roshan. Kind of risky. No, it's not, like... Actually, yeah, you can't Dispel Break, so there's that. Lotus Orb is not bad overall, though, because you do Dispel Corrosive Haze, and you can... Like, this guy will probably build an Abyssal later, and you can reflect, like, Open Wounds, Abyssal, that kind of stuff. Reflect... Actually, what's really important, it can Dispel Fatal Bonds, which is really big. And actually, it can also reflect Fatal Bonds if he happens to cast it on Bristleback. So Lotus Orb as an item is not bad, but what it just means is that your team has no, like, catch. Because Lena's, like, bad at it. She's not bad, but it's not, like, instant. If she tries to Yule stun someone, it'll never work against, like, Lifestealer. Does he have an Abyssal? He's going Scotty. So it's like your team just lacks catch, and I think someone needs an Abyssal. It should probably be the Juggernaut, not really the Bristleback. I like Bristleback just being a tank, and so, like, I actually don't mind the Lotus Orb. Even if you thought it was for the break and it doesn't work, that's okay. It as an item is fine. AC also could have been good because they're, like, heavy physical damage, and AC is an aura. The pipe's not so important this game, actually, because they're mostly physical. I guess Sniper has a decent amount of magic, and so does Pango. Yeah, they did have the MKBs and Mjolnirs. I don't know. I still kind of feel like... Actually, we can check the stats later. I think that should work. Where I think physical damage is still your issue, even though they have that kind of magic. I think Bristleback will die to physical, not the magical. But we'll see.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
I don't know if you needed to place that sentry.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Because your team's very low on sentries. And they have the double invis, so you kind of need them for the team fights. Team fights in general dewarding. So at this point, you have to be like, I need to have vision here. Like, I need to know it's safe right here. Or I know they have a ward here. Or it's for a team fight. Like, one of those three reasons to use sentries here. But, like, guessing is not so much an option anymore when you're down on sentries. But maybe you did have a specific reason for that and I missed it. I'm not sure.
On the hunt for Radiant forces.
I would save that. I think the idea is, like, he was getting ahead of you, so you wanted to get it out. Alright. What was Jug looking at? You guys are running through here. You guys are looking at that later on. Yeah, sentry management, since they added in the stock cooldown, it's something to keep in mind when they have a lot of... They don't usually have invis heroes. Like, this lineup doesn't make me think invis heroes, but they both got invis. So, it's now an invis lineup. So Jug was looking for the supports, and you did notice, like, the Pango is here. Could we have changed that, though? I don't know if this is something you could have changed. Because it is kind of just unfortunate positioning. But I think once smoke breaks, I know someone is, like, right here. And I think you knew that. But Jug was looking for these, like, 2 support kills, which I don't hate. But then that does mean, like, because you guys have run in this, like, backline, you're, like, way out of position. Which isn't your fault, it's just the way your team ran. And it's hard to get the team to recognize that, like, in the moment. Like, in those couple seconds to be like, I'm in a really bad position, guys. We need to, like, change the way we are. Well, what it means is, like, you just weren't able to cast any spells because you got killed so quickly. And silenced. Might lose from there. There's a disarm. Yeah. Where did that silence even come from? Who silenced you? Did I miss something? Oh, he's got the Mindbreaker, I see. I was so confused. I was like, wait a minute, Lucky Shot doesn't silence anymore. I would guess you guys lose here. Gotcha. Your English is pretty good for it not being your native language, but I understand the accent. Yeah, if you're worried about that. Gotcha. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you for this game. I don't think there's... Having watched it, I think... Very true. Yeah, I don't blame you for this game. I don't know if there's something strictly you could have done to change it, where, like, even like having enough mana to win this fight and, like, not waiting so much to stack, like, those are relatively minor in the grand scheme of things in most cases. Like, sometimes it'll have a major effect, but not so much. And in this particular game, I don't think it had a major effect, where you won your lane, I would say, and that's kind of the most important step. And this game is just hard due to the draft. But I'm not sure if there's something strictly you could have done to change it. Because the most important part to me is to, like, okay, as a support, we need to win our laning stage. And you did, you know? And the next part is to, like, rotate bottom. That could have happened. It still may not have changed the game, though. But I do think that's the next step. Are we on your perspective? Yeah. Let's see what happens. Okay. Pretty much the most you can do there. They don't have an impact enough when something like that. Yeah. I think Lich is very much a hero that needs to win his lane. And then he wants a controlled... Lich doesn't like to play from behind, I guess. Because his spells are good, but as soon as you get like BKBs or spell immunity, he doesn't really do that much because all of his stuff is magical. And so I think there were some small things that could have made your laning a little better, right? Like the attack move, or focusing your spells on Slardar could have maybe gotten that early kill at the start. The impact of Lich, I think, is seriously winning the lane. And once this game is over, we'll look at the graph to see how your team compared. But you might have been able to win a little harder in the laning stage, and that would let you rotate sooner to the off lane. And that's usually how I would say Lich can have a lot of impact, is like you win the safe lane really quickly, and then you go pressure the off lane. And it's that first like 15 minutes where you play really well and set your team up to win. But if the game goes late and you're behind, then it starts to feel really bad as Lich, because you're not a hero that can change the game after that when you're already back. Unlike, you know, an Earthshaker or a Shadow Shaman, these people who still have late game potential, Lich struggles with that, especially against such a tanky lineup with natural spell immunity. A hero similar to that is Undying, who like also needs to have a lot of early game impact and drops off a lot later. I think Lich is a little better later than Undying. I think that missed. Oh, you got Bash. I think you were going to fear that guy. Alright, yeah, looks like the game's over here. Decent hero pool. Main is Undying. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually, now I'm seeing you say that. Tired of being flamed in charity phase when I pick it and have to ask before to pick a stun. I think Undying is a fine pick. It's definitely... That's the downside, where your team needs to pick a stun. Okay, well, first let's think about this game real quick. Let's finish this game and then I'll get into the hero pool stuff. So, yeah, I would say you won your lane. Jug is way at the top. And we could have done like slightly better where you kill like that Slardar one more time, or maybe that team fight changes. But at the end of the day, you did win your lane. Not used to it. Yeah, let's see. When did the team... Yeah, Quap looks like she really struggled against Pango, and the off lane went okay, which is not usually what Bristleback wants to do, though against a lifestealer, it's somewhat understandable. Yeah, so I wouldn't feel bad about this game. I think there's just some stuff that you could have improved a little bit on, and maybe that's enough to like let you win the game, where you actually just put Jug at like, you know, like 5k because you get an extra kill or you win an extra team fight. But like that still doesn't guarantee you the win. I do think, let's say you win the lane a little harder though, and so like by 7 minutes you're able to go rotate bottom, and it kind of looks like that might have been possible. And then while you're bottom, you prevent Lifestealer from farming well, and you help Bristleback get better. Like, that's sort of the early game impact that supports can have. 10-minute Yasha. I don't think Yasha's the build for Jug anymore, though, actually. Because I don't play Jug, so I'm not fully sure. I kind of think that most people go something else, though. But maybe I'm wrong. A lot of the Jugs in my games have been going Battle Fury. Though I don't know if that's the item this game. But the timing itself, like his gold was pretty good. You can still leave, though, actually. You can just leave the lane. Slardar actually doesn't push that fast. He doesn't have a fast farming mechanic. So you can just go bottom and then let Jug go back top when he wants, or let Lina go top or something instead.